Hi everyone, welcome back, and I have a special guest today, finally. This is Tara.
Hi guys.
We've literally been planning on doing a video together for, I don't know, how
long? A very long time. We just kept procrastinating it.
Yeah, but we knew we'd get there eventually. So we figured we'd come together today and do kind of like a New York style kind of Q&A as such. So we're gonna do one on each of our channels. So we'll start off with my channel, obviously, you're here watching, and we're gonna do maybe like 3 or 4 kind of more in-depth questions about New York, because we both get so many questions because we've lived here now. I'm nearly 4 years.
Yeah, you're an OG. I'm like 2.5 years-ish.
That's still a long time.
So yeah,
in New York.
I think even a month in New York is like a year anywhere else.
Oh my god, 100%. So we're going to kind of answer a few questions that we get a lot, and then just to kind of make it a little bit fun at the end, we're going to do some quick fire questions just about our favorite places here and things we've done and things we do and all that.
A good mix of stuff. The chats. We're sitting for the chats.
Yeah,
we're here.
It should be a very like helpful video, we hope. So if you're thinking of moving to New York, or you're just visiting here, you're coming on holidays, hopefully there'll be videos that will really kind of just help every kind of person
and answer
watching.
your questions, because we get a lot of the same questions a lot of the time. So
yeah,
let's dive straight into it.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the first question. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about today is just basically about working for ourselves. In case you don't know, Tara's also a full-time blogger and YouTuber and all that good stuff. But I guess like in this video and questions that we get a lot, we kind of wanted to both talk about like how we went from that internship life as such, and then now we're working full-time for ourselves. So Tara, give us a brief of your story.
Okay, so my history in New York is, I think you were here about a year before me, like full-time year before me.
Yeah.
So I came over with the intention of just coming here for a year, doing the J1 grad visa, which a lot of Irish people do, and I think you did it as well.
Sure did.
So I came over, I interned for 8 months, and then I decided a year wasn't enough, and I applied for the O visa, which basically is a visa that I was able to get through my history of blogging. So I've been doing YouTube for like 6, probably going on 7 years. So
you were like one of the first people that I followed on YouTube.
Oh my god,
and I think Kayla as well. Yeah, I used to follow you like way back in the day.
Oh my god, my webcam style videos probably, but
no, but I love that though, that like you're like one of the YouTube OGs, like definitely, I think.
Well, maybe in Ireland,
well,
but definitely not like
I've been to UK as well, I feel.
Probably, I don't know, but
great.
Oh thanks. I'm like getting shy, but yeah, no, so I've been doing it a while, so I was able to kind of like rack up all the things that I've done over the last 6 years and kind of apply for that visa, which was quite fun. It kind of totally changed my experience here. So
yeah, because it is a very different experience. Like we both done the full-time, well, we both done like the internship / full-time kind of work, and then it's such a big shift when you get to do your own thing. But I think we're also similar in that like we both had the goal of doing our own thing, but we knew we had to do what we had to do first. And
totally, you have to pay your dues.
You have to pay your dues in New York, and that's a lot of people always ask me. They're like, oh, I want to move to New York, and how do you work for yourself? And I'm like, it takes time.
Everyone's journey is so different. There's no like straight clear-cut answer. Like I think the best advice is just get yourself in the country and then figure out what your next step is. Yeah,
and even with visas, like we're very similar. So I started on the grad visa as well, came here, worked full-time with a brand called Vince Camuto, did their social media management, but I was doing Retroflame on the side the whole time as well, kind of in the sly in the office,
of course.
The usual.
Yeah.
And just with the idea of wanting to keep building that. But I will say, like, as much as I look back sometimes, I'm like, oh, it was so hard doing both. It was actually great to have that security a little bit and then be able to build Retroflame on the side, you know, whenever I could and whenever I had the chance. So I did that for as long as I could. The only difference we have, I went on the H1B visa for a while. In between. Because I didn't start at Vince Camuto until I was here 6 months, and then I was there for a year. So I went from the grad visa to the H1B.
Which is like a very popular visa for anyone that's getting employed by a company.
Yeah, basically. So if you come here on the grad visa, just in case you don't know, and it comes to kind of towards the end of your year and they really like you and you're kind of at the right timing for the visa application, you can apply for this one called the H1B, which is a 3-year visa, and basically you stay with that company, like they kind of have you for 3 years.
Yeah.
So Vince Camuto didn't really have me for 3 years.
But it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
it rarely works out that you stay with the same company for the entire, especially if you're in a creative agency.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
that's
a
the thing.
creative
like industry.
Yeah, it's rare that you kind of stay in the same place.
So it's a great visa, and I remember being so grateful when I got it, but it was only like about 6 months after that then that I was like, okay, Retro Flame's getting busier and busier.
Yeah, you can kind of take the next jump.
Yeah.
Which is all about, it's all about the steps. It's all about like figuring
Gradual.
out one and figuring out how you're going to stay here, and then, you know, worrying about the next one when the time comes.
So yeah, that's kind of like our brief story of like our journey so far.
Yeah.
And I think definitely in Tara's video we're going to touch more a little bit on the visas and like costs and
yeah, we'll talk about a little bit more in depth about like the realistically how to like the process of getting them, and maybe like touch on how much they are, because it really is kind of a bit shocking. So
a little bit. It's like not cheap at all, but we'll definitely touch on that more in Tara's video. And of course at the end of this video you can just go straight over and watch that one. There'll be more questions.
That would be ideal.
Subscribe to Tara. I'll be linking that down below, so definitely watch that too.
Part two.
But the next thing I wanted us to talk about, and it's definitely, I think personally for me, and I'd say you too, a question like, because we both moved here initially and we were interning. Like I used to come on my summers, and Tara moved initially first, and you had really good internships too when you came here first on your grad visa. But the big question is like, how do you get them? Because when you move here first, realistically, like you don't have any experience, like nobody knows you.
Usually,
You don't have anyone to kind of like get you in the door, and you really have to like prove your worth and your like
your
work
experience
ethic and everything. So I guess like, how did we get our internships? How did you get your first one?
I'm not gonna lie, it was really difficult, because when we first get here on the grad visa, you technically have 3 to 4 months to secure a visa if you haven't already before going. And in the fashion industry, it's one of the scariest parts of making the big move, because it's like a dive into the unknown, because you're like, it's so unpredictable. You don't know if you're going to get something sorted. But I mean, anyone that I think gets as far as even getting to New York will usually succeed. But it was pretty hard. I feel like for my first one, I think I might have seen it on what's that website that tends to list a lot of internships? Fashionista.
That's a good one.
I think that's probably where I saw the initial, like they were looking for interns, but then I went onto their website and decided to contact them directly. And I'm like, that's what I usually do. I never just send one email. I tend to send it to like a couple of people. If I can find someone that works within the company as well, I'll like drop it to them. But yeah, I think I just might have found it on an online listing, or else what I probably did, I remember being pretty desperate at the time, because I came at a really bad time for internships. It was like February, we're in Fashion Week. Yeah. Everyone had their interns already. No one was looking for interns.
Like things you don't know about until you actually get here.
Like you just think that, oh, like, you know, I'm probably going to be working for free. They're going to want me. Yeah. But it's not necessarily like that. Everyone was just not interested in having internships at the time that I moved here. So actually, I'm thinking now, I think actually I might have written down every single designer in New York. And I think I probably emailed all of them. Yeah. And I think maybe 2 or 3 replied.
I know. And people never like think about that side of it.
You will send hundreds of emails.
And you get so many rejections. Yeah. I think especially here. Like, because I think in different industries or different places, like, it's probably not as saturated. But here, there's like
so much talent.
Many good people.
Yeah.
Like, there's always someone better than you, and
there's always someone better than you that will do it for free.
Yeah. That's so true.
So it was tough. Like in the end, I did have to do an unpaid internship, but at the same time, I got a lot of experience. I was the only intern there, so I got a lot of responsibility, and you know, I was there for 8 months, so I learned quite a lot. And it was kind of like, it was a luxury brand, but it was still kind of considered a startup. They were only 2 or 3 years, so I got to see a lot of the inner workings of a growing big brand. So,
and that's where you learn.
Yeah, that's where you totally, because you learn from other people's mistakes, and that's the most valuable thing from an internship. You make mistakes and you witness mistakes, but on someone else's clock.
It's not your fault.
It's you learn. If you were interested in being an entrepreneur, I feel like internships are just the best way of like figuring out how you like to work, and
100%.
what you would change if you had your own business, and all that stuff. So
that's so true, and I think it was definitely the same with me, because like before I moved here,
you had J1 like
I
summer.
feel like I like interned a lot.
Oh my god, yeah, like.
was like, what was I thinking?
I was so over internships by the time I got here. I was like, I'm 23 years old. I don't want to do another internship, but
that's the thing.
Paying your dues.
It is, and the thing when I look back as well over my internships and the jobs it led to is that like it all happened for a reason in a really weird way that you can't see at the time, but one person that you meet at one internship will literally lead you to the next job and the next job. It's like this really weird like trail.
You have to just trust it.
You have to trust it. And obviously I used to come here in my summers on my J1, so that's kind of when I started my interning in New York, and I was like young and wide-eyed and I literally would do anything. I didn't care. I just wanted to get to New York and get experience. And how I actually got my internship, I was telling this at a talk I did recently, but there's a designer in Ireland called Natalie B. Coleman, and I remember I was in NYC at the time, and I was like studying for some boring exam at the time, and I was like, oh, I really would love to do something fashiony before the end of the year, before I go off to New York for the summer. So I randomly emailed her. I'd seen her on like a TV program like 2 days before, and her like designs were unbelievable. So I emailed her and I was like, my name's Erica, I don't really have that much experience, I have a blog called Retroflame, like this is it, it's really small, but I'd love to come and help you like in the business side of your like business as such, because she obviously was a designer and like I guess
the creative side, I guess,
and it's very different. So I was like, I'll help you, I'll do whatever I can do.
I remember following you when you were doing that internship.
I know,
like, and I think I found about that designer through.
Yeah.
So you could have helped her too.
Yeah, no, she's amazing, and like I always like I'm so grateful because she emailed me back like 2 days later. I think it was even like the day after, and she was like, "Can you come to Monaghan next week?" I was like, okay. So I literally moved up to her house in Monaghan for I think it was like a week, because she was preparing to go and show at like a show, kind of like a trade show in Paris during Fashion Week. So she wanted to get buyer appointments and she wanted to get everything organized. So I helped her with all that, and I did that for the week. And while I was there, I found out that she had a fashion PR company in New York, and I knew I was going there that summer. So I was like, who are they? Like, what's the story? Could I get a bit of an intro? And like, it was completely like, I never went into an internship thinking, oh, this is what will come out of it. It's just like, when you put out the good and
when you gave your time and you got rewarded kind of back.
Totally.
So.
And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So she was like, yeah, I'll get onto them straight away. They're based in Soho. They do fashion PR, and like they have designers and jewelry designers and all different kinds. And I went on a Skype with them, and they hired me literally like that week as well. So I think that was in like maybe May, and I was going to New York at the start of June, so I had it all set up.
Such a relief.
And I had been emailing so many people and like just
it's
trying.
That personal it's that I think that's so important in New York. It is that like if you can get that face-to-face interaction, I feel like that's what locks it in.
Totally. And then if you can actually go there and prove that you're actually a good worker, they're like, wow, and then they'll recommend you for the next thing. So that's how I got my first internship here. And to be honest, like the story's way too long, but the rest of them literally came from one job. I would meet somebody, and then I would go on to the next job, and then at that job they'd refer me to something else, and it's like this domino effect until I was able to get to the stage that I'm at today and do my own thing. So I think one piece of advice I do have with internships is, as Tara said, like send out hundreds of emails, like, but make them really good and like stand out and like
personalize them. Like don't just send out like blanket email.
Totally. Because honestly, like generic emails just get thrown into the
totally. If they look like they've been copied and pasted, like
and then I think as well, then you know, don't be snobby about it. Like I think like even if it's not the biggest PR company in New York or not the biggest designer, like that's often sometimes where you will learn the most, and that's where they're actually going to appreciate you a lot sometimes more. So don't be too
like local,
picky.
like look out for opportunities local, and like try and get something extra on your CV before coming to the US. Like, get as much like it's not all about being in New York, it's about like wherever you are maximizing the opportunities that are around you.
Totally. So hopefully that helps on that side of things. Okay, and then question number 3, and probably the last kind of like more in-depth long question we'll have on this video, is a very popular one as well, but basically both me and Tara live in the Upper East Side. We kind of briefly mentioned that. You're moving soon.
I know, like literally a couple of days, but she's gonna rep it, she's gonna hold it down for a little while. I'll
still be here for a little while more. But basically, I guess the question that I always get to is like, how did you find the apartment? Like, because we both live in Manhattan, and
we've both been through the rigmarole.
Like, it's notoriously hard to find an apartment in Manhattan, especially when you move here first.
On a tight budget.
on a tight budget.
Yeah, if you've got
credit.
a great budget, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
but like you
if
know,
you have that
most,
10 grand, you know, for
yeah,
the
but let's face it, most people coming on our visas are straight out of college.
Yeah, and
you know,
we're broke. Like
yeah,
we literally are broke, and we're just
paying
trying to
for
make
flights, paying for visas. You know, there's not a lot of meat on the bone left over. We've both done like quite a lot of routes. I know you found your apartment pretty fast. Like that apartment that we stayed in, you found it in like a week.
That
right?
particular one, like,
how did you find that?
Yeah, it was like a bit crazy, but I actually found it on Craigslist. And if anyone ever asks me where to find apartments, I would never really recommend Craigslist. Like, I got really lucky.
I did too. My first apartment was a Craigslist apartment.
I actually never hear that either. I forgot that yours was Craigslist.
Mine was a Craigslist listing as well, and so it was not like the picture. It was not the picture at all, which is but it was just like it was the last one that I saw before being like, I have to get roommates if this doesn't work out. And I saw it, I was like, I'll take it, I'll fix it up, it's fine. But like, Craigslist can be amazing if you're like smart about it. Just never transfer money online before you see it, nothing like that. But there are genuine estate agents and brokers on there that are representing people that own apartments, and that are, maybe the apartment is like having a hard time shifting, and they decide to post it on Craigslist, or a lot of estate agents, they just post on every single site, including Craigslist. So you can get lucky.
Definitely.
I think we got fairly lucky.
We got lucky. I think it was my 7th one I viewed, and I wanted to get into a place like literally straight away because I came at the end of August, so I think it was like the 26th or 7th, so the next move-in date was September 1st. Yeah. And then if I didn't find something for September 1st, it would be like either September 15th or October 1st. So always keep that in mind. Like,
they're usually either mid-month move-ins or end of month.
So when you're coming here on your flight date, like, just keep in mind, like, okay, do I need a week to look for an apartment so that I'll be able to move in on September 1st? But then also keep in mind, like, by the middle of the month, often a lot of the apartments for the 1st of the month move-in are already gone. Yeah. So there's just a lot to think about. Like, I came super late. I didn't really know about that. So I came like really late in August, and I think it was the 26th, and literally I looked at 7 apartments. They were so bad. Like, I remember seeing ones, I was like, oh my god. You
can see some pretty horrific.
My mom was with me, and we went to this one place in the East Village, like a ground floor apartment, and there was like 1 bedroom and whatever, the bathroom and stuff, but there was like no sink in the bathroom. Like, you had to use the sink in the kitchen. And there was
probably like cages on the front from being on the ground floor.
Normal. Like, she was telling me this, like the person that was showing, and me and my mom were like,
that's not normal. But that's the thing with New York apartments.
It's like, is this the way they're all going to be?
The things that are acceptable in New York are like ridiculous. People are so desperate. Like, I remember when I saw my place, like, I literally, my eyes were half closed, like looking around. I was like, 30 seconds, I'll take it. And I was just trying to visualize it with nothing in it, with all of like the landlord's furniture out of there, because it was all like, honestly looked like it had its day.
Ancient.
It had its day. Like, the couch was like ripped up, and like it was just not good. And honestly,
you have to visualize.
You have to like literally just close your eyes and be like, okay, what's the bare bones of this apartment? Like, can I just give it a lick of paint and like fix it? And honestly, I'm surprised. Like, once she offered to paint
yours turned out so well.
I just remember arriving in the day I was supposed to move in, and all of the crap was out. She had painters in to like paint it all white, and I was shocked at how I could see what I could do with it then. Yeah. And it was a lot better, but when I first saw it, it was pretty rough.
And I think that's all of them. If you're on a bit of a budget, like we were when we moved here, you just have to visualize. Yeah. Like, and you have to,
because every apartment's going to need a little bit of work.
Yeah. But yeah, have a look on Craigslist for moving here. Other good ones are Street Easy. That's pretty good. What other ones do you use? Triple Mint.
There's a lot of them. I recently, like a couple of them now, like for example, I just recently used one called Nooklin, but there's a couple of different sites now. They'll pair you up with a roommate. And usually those ones are quite open to like students and people that don't have a lot of the paperwork, essentially, or like accept overseas guarantors, so that like your parents can like sign, because when you move here, you're not going to have a lot of the paperwork that the apartments require. So being able to have a guarantor is like will up your chances of getting a better apartment. So yeah, there's lots of kind of different ways you can go about it. Subletting
is great
for a period of time. If you know anyone in that's over here, that's Irish, you know, usually somebody will know someone that has a free
Yeah.
room or a couch to crash
Send
on
them a
or
message.
something
Literally
like that.
plague people.
Yeah, it's the only
Plague
way.
people,
It's the only way.
Because I think if anyone who has moved here, we get it. Like, we get the struggle, and that's why we do videos like this, because when I was moving here, I wish I had watched more videos like this.
That's someone that did have the
calms the
exact
nerves.
same process.
Yeah, and we all go through the same stuff, so you'll be fine. It all works out.
It's stressful, but it will be fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's all normal feelings.
So,
Sweet.
on to the quickfire round.
I'm not gonna look.
Okay, I have written these questions down. I don't know if they're good or not, but basically I'm going to ask a really quick question and we'll both give our answer. So the first one, seeing as we both love this, your favorite coffee in the city? Oh my god.
I know,
it's really
it's
hard.
always changing.
Yeah.
It's literally always changing.
What's your current one?
Oh my god. I think my current favorite coffee is, I think it's Waldo and Hutch, you know.
We both love it there. A new Upper East Side spot.
But it's not even so much the coffee, it's the experience. It's
yeah.
where you're sitting, it's the decor, it's the customer service. And I feel
Australian.
like, yeah, the Australian coffee is always guaranteed solid, like a good iced latte.
I think for me, there's actually this place, it's on 70th and Lexington, or I think it's Lexington. It's called Corrado. It's like a really cute kind of spot that I only kind of discovered recently enough, but it's like they have seats outside, so in the summer it's really nice, kind of Parisian, and the coffee is really good there. I just get like iced Americano with almond milk, my usual, and I'm kind of fussy about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really like that one, so I'll write that name here as well, and
I'll check that
two
one out
spots you
too.
can try out.
You got me at Parisian.
Oh, it's so nice there. Okay, this is a kind of a quicker one. Your favorite area in New York?
Favorite area in New York?
Neighborhood area.
I think Williamsburg or the West Village.
Yeah, I think I'll say the West Village too.
Yeah, I think the West Village
nice.
is just, it's one of those places where you're just like, every street, like, I wish I could live here, I wish I could live here, I wish I could live here. It's just a nice Sunday stroll in the autumn, like,
it's also
amazing.
one of the most expensive places.
Yeah,
to live in
it's
the city.
all brownstones, it's all very Carrie
like
from
Sarah Jessica
Sex-
Parker
yeah,
lives down there.
Yeah,
like,
it's very, it's beautiful.
Such a nice spot. What's your go-to recommendation for a hidden gym in NYC?
My hidden gem is, oh my god, what's it called? It's up in Harlem. I'm gonna think of it.
I'll try and go ahead of mine. What am I gonna say? I have a few, but they're not like really hidden Jimmy. There's this one restaurant called Marta that like me and Tommy found randomly one night, and
they're
now
the
we
best
keep going back
finds. They're
there.
the best finds.
It's Italian, but it does like this really good pizza. Like it does pastas and pizzas and kind of more like hearty Italian dishes as well. And just the whole atmosphere in there is really good. So
I'm gonna try that out.
there. Yeah, it's delicious.
I remembered it. My recommendation is the Cloisters, because I just think it's like, it's one of those things you do if you've been to New York like a million times and you've done all the touristy stuff.
Yeah.
It's like this absolute oasis, way uptown. But it's pretty easy to get to on the subway. But it's called the Cloisters. It has like, on the way up to it, it's super peaceful. It's on the water. It has like beautiful gardens on the way up to it. And then when you get there, it's basically like they imported like a historical kind of churchy cathedral type building to New York.
Wow.
So it's all been like, all of
it's
it's made like, so it kind of looks like something that you'd see in Italy, or like, it's basically a historic building, but then there's also like a museum inside, so it has like all these like artifacts and stuff inside.
Tara's like,
but it
so
has
good
like
for finding these places. Like,
but it has like it has like, you can get coffee in there, and it has like a little courtyard with a garden, and it's just one of those places you just walk, you just wander, you sit with a coffee.
Is it like very high up? Or?
It's quite high up. I don't even know. It's not even on a street, you know, that sort of way. Like, it's nearly like in a park, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not even, I don't think there's even like a road. Like, I think there is a road to it, but the nicest way is to go from the subway, and then from the subway you walk through the gardens, and then you get up to like the main building, and it has these amazing views, and you just don't feel like you're in New York. It's really peaceful, and like, it's like, you know, there's not a lot of places you can go in New York where you feel like you can get this like old European style architecture and culture, and it's
very
like,
modern here.
Yeah, it's very modern. It's like a concrete jungle. So it's just this like oasis away from all the madness.
You'll see
it's a
me
good
there
little
next
like
weekend.
it's a good half
or when
date.
it warms up. Probably summer. It's lovely.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like with the flowers out and everything, it's amazing. It's such a like weird place like that not everyone knows
You
about,
wouldn't
so.
expect it, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I've never been here and I've been here 4 years, so
Now you have to
there you
go.
So I think that is everything. We got through all of the questions. I'd say we've talked loads, but I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
like, we're both
we were
really
like,
chatty.
let's do 10 questions, 10
my
long
God,
ones, and we're
imagine.
like, we're literally, it's not gonna happen.
But it's not finished here because there's going to be another version of this, part 2, over on Tara's channel as well. So if you've made it to the end of this video and you fancy watching a little bit more, because we do have some other really good topics to talk about too.
Yeah, and we're going to
like
kind of go into
different-
this, maybe touch on the same topics, but go into a different side
specific.
of them.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely head over to Tara's channel and check that video out, and be sure to subscribe to her, fellow Irish here in New York. So if you like following me, Tara does loads of vlogs as well, and she does like really good vlogs.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like, how does she edit it like that? I need to like meet you someday and be like, help.
Long, painful process, but thank you.
No, it's so good, and she's like, her Instagram's so nice as well, so definitely I'll leave all the links below and definitely show her some love. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Tara for joining in before you leave.
Hopefully it won't be the last.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have any more ideas of other videos you'd like to do us to do together,
Yeah, we could do more in the future, like another series.
yeah, because we both kind of do like fashiony stuff and like lifestyle and New York kind of guides and stuff, so definitely let us know and we will jot them all down, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye guys.